And for many of you, maybe this is the very first time you've asked yourself this question. Think about that. What is it like to work with you? What is it like to be your wife? What is it like to be your husband? What is it like to be your son or daughter or your coworker? What's it like to be around you? And I'm not talking about when it's easy, because we're all awesome when it's easy. I'm talking about when the stress comes in and life gets a little bit more complicated and it becomes harder to get the job done. What is it like to work with you when you're stressed? So this is where the facilitation begins, and vulnerability opens right up. So who's willing to share? What do you think it's like to work with you? You got something? What do you think it's like to work with you when you're under stress?
For my wife and my clients or who?
Let's keep it at work for today, since we're here in this setting.
When I'm stressed, I don't know, I've been on stage my whole life, so I can kind of turn it on and get the show going from the clients.
Yep.
And not let them feel that, but for me internally, it's a lot of stress.
Okay. And you start to feel that stress. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm taking care of them, but then I'll hang up on them and it's a lot. You'll be driving in your car and find words you never knew you had.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think it's like to work with you when you're in that environment? You think like nobody else can see it and you're just so good at autopilot and smile mode that you can fake it?
My clients don't see it, but my family does.
The family sees it. Okay. So they take a little bit of the brunt of it. Who else is willing to share? What is it like to work with you when you're stressed out? Got something?
I can probably be more disorganized.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, just call it, right? Like, and this is what is so powerful about these conversations with people. If we don't put this stuff on the table and we don't look at it, we'll never fix it. We can't change anything that we don't take a look at. So I'm asking you, be vulnerable. Take a look at it. Who else? What is it like to work with you when you're stressed out?
Your clients definitely feel it. I don't care how good you are at smiling on autopilot. No offense. I
Right.
think to some extent they definitely feel it.
I agree with you, right? I agree. I think we can do a really good job, and most people won't see it outright. But if they can't see it, they can feel it. There's something there that's a little bit off. Who else? Let's do like one more. What's it like to work with you when you're stressed? Coleman.
Definitely a little bit more direct. So
More direct.
tone of voice can change a little bit, so definitely be aware of that.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so this is really good feedback. And so what I want to do in this next exercise is help people reframe the way that they think about themselves. This is critically important. So let's just take a look at about 2 months ago, I was doing this presentation at a place called Silver Fern in Scottsdale. And I had a woman, and I said, what's it like to work with you when you're stressed out? And she was like, I ask a lot of questions. And I said, okay. So maybe let's reframe that to, oh, you seek clarity. Now I don't have her walking in feeling like she's some big nag who asks a lot of questions. We've reframed her to somebody who seeks clarity. You see the subtle difference in that? Both are going after the exact same goal, but I like to work with people who are clear. That does not bother me. I want clarity. The more clarity we have, I believe the easier life gets. I worked with another group. One of the guys said, man, I get a million ideas in my head. And I reframed them right away. I was like, no, you're just creative. And we need you to be creative. That's the special sauce that you bring to this thing. I am somebody, and this one goes for me, I'm super anal. And I have said that about myself all the time. But look, I think the details matter. They add up to the big thing that we're all looking for at the very end. And in fact, one of the ingredients that I'm going to show you today that I believe is one of the core ingredients for great teams is that we have to execute the fundamentals flawlessly. There are things about this job that are non-negotiable. And we have to pay attention to those details in order to execute them. So instead of saying to myself and having this self-talk of like, you're a super anal guy, which doesn't have a really great feeling to it, I've reframed it. I am detail-oriented. To work with me, that's what you get. I am going to pay attention to all the details. All the little things that you're going to gloss over, I'm going to see those. I'm going to notice those. And maybe you're somebody who says, I talk a lot in the office. Well, first up, pick your moments. Nobody wants to hear you all the time. But here's the reframe of that. You're the glue guy. You're the glue girl. And we need people like that in offices. That has been lost over the COVID thing, right? Part of the best part about being here is that we get to see each other and talk to each other and share our experiences with each other and lean on each other. Maybe this is true for you. This was a woman that I worked with at a bank, and she said, I am just the worst people pleaser. And I said, you know what it sounds like to me? Sounds like you try to find a way to say yes. And I like working with people that try to find a way to say yes. I like working with people who are clear. I like working with people who want the details to be absolutely perfect. I love working with the glue guy and the glue girl. I love working with the creative. These, to me, are really good things. But you can see that if I show up and I've got it in my head that I'm a nag, or that I ask too many questions, or that I do this and I do that, that's going to impact how you show up for your team. And the reason that I think this conversation is so important is because I want other people to understand how you feel about yourself, because they can be helpful in those cases. The next time somebody gets on a roll and asks a bunch of questions and is seeking clarity, let them. Let them find their way to the clear point. Don't make it harder for them. For their personality type, this is just what they need. So these are a few things, and just really briefly, is there anybody else who would like to kind of talk about what they think of themselves under stress, and I can help you reframe the way that you think about yourself? Is there any other people in here that would like to make a comment about how they think they are under stress? Perfect, you're killing it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. This will be for some extra credit, and we're not going to go through this right now, but if you want to take a picture of this slide, you can. And here, I'll get out of the way. And what I suggest is that we come back to this slide once a week. And we ask ourselves as agents, did I create clarity today or did I create noise today? We ask ourselves as agents, am I protecting the short-term commission at the expense of long-term trust? Did I make this deal easier or did I make this deal about myself? And again, my whole thing, guys, is just asking questions about yourself. We are all very good at doing this. We're all very good at figuring out why something didn't happen because of what somebody else did. But what I am about is asking yourself, why didn't it get done? What did I do to contribute to these problems? And so if anybody didn't get that, I can absolutely grab that later. Now, we're back to the facilitation. Who's ever worked on a really terrible team before? Coleman, what made the team terrible? Culture. Be more specific. What was happening in that culture that was just toxic for you? Okay, pick one. Okay, so people playing favorites. Great. I would say that that's an ingredient of a bad team. Anybody else? What do you think? What makes a bad team? Or be a bad teammate?
People that don't participate and just sit there and they just kind of...
And look at you participating. So you are not a bad teammate. Congratulations, right? Yeah, what do bad teams tolerate? Let's keep going on this. So they play favorites. They don't participate when they need to. What do you say? What makes a bad teammate? If you've ever worked on a bad team before, what did they do that drove you crazy?
I think probably personalities that are just, some of them are rude.
No, okay.
Or the leader is rude.
Yes. That's a tough place to work, isn't it? When you got a bad boss, that's a really, really tough place to work. What do you say? In the back, how about in the back? What makes a bad teammate? If you've been on a bad team before, what is it? Dishonesty. Yeah, the dishonesty piece is huge. What do you say?
Sometimes just someone's always looking at the downside and they're always finding excuses.
Right. And then they make that excuse where they say, I'm just being real. Okay, but we can find a way to keep it real and keep it optimistic, right? We're in the business of optimism, I believe. Okay, what else? Bad teams, all the way in the back.
I was going to say negativity.
Yes. And you would say the same thing. The rumor mill. So awful. So awful. Okay, so that's like 8 or 9 ingredients right now that you all just named really quick about what makes a bad teammate. And again, because this presentation today is about you looking at yourself, I want to ask you, how many times are you the bad teammate? How many times are you the person who maybe brings a little bit too much negativity to the situation? Are there times when you're the person who starts the rumor mill? Are there times when you're the rude person? Are there times when you play favorites, right? Like, it's important to ask ourselves these questions, because if we don't want the bad teammate, we got to look at ourselves first. Nick Saban is popular. He's an old football coach for those that don't know him. And he's famous for saying, training camp is all about figuring out who needs to get off the bus. Like, we're just trying to keep the people here that we want on the bus. And I think that's happening in every company that I work with. We want to figure out who needs to stay here. Because the folks who don't belong, they'll eventually find themselves in a different place. So first and foremost, are there times in your life where you contribute to being the bad teammate? Just think about it. And then here's the other critical piece. Please don't beat yourself up about it. Just become aware of it and start to do it less and less and less. You know, you'll see this slide a little bit later, but I believe this fundamentally, that the top producers, they don't work harder, they aren't more special or any of this, they just interrupt patterns faster. So when negativity shows up, when the bad stuff shows up, they're usually better at recognizing that it's there, and they want to make a flip on that as quickly as they possibly can. Okay, now let's go and talk about what makes teams great. So what do great teams demand? And look, looks like a pretty great place to come to work here. I don't know everybody, and I don't know all of your history, but looks like a pretty good venue to come to work every day. So you answer this question. If you were the hiring manager and you were hiring everybody that worked here and you were only looking for great people, what are some of the characteristics that you would want that person to possess? Teachable. Love that. Like, coachable, teachable is such a critical step. Okay, what do you got?
Willing to invest in others.
Yes. Oh, this is so big, and it's one of the ingredients that I actually have coming up for you. And I'm so passionate about that, so I love that you said that. What's your name? Heather, I love that you said that. Okay, what else? What makes a great team? What do great teams demand?
Accountability.
Yes, accountability. Huge. And a specific type of accountability, which I'm going to mention to you in a couple of minutes. You guys have anything? What makes a great teammate? Communication. Oh, man. You guys are writing this speech for me. Like, literally, these are the things that really matter for people. And so now, let's flip it. How many times are you guys being the great teammate? Is that happening for you? Are you holding yourselves accountable? Are you communicating? Are you making the people around you better? Are you being coachable when somebody wants to take you aside and they want to show you a new trick or two and you're like, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. This, to me, is the difference between loving your job and hating coming to work every single day. And what's so interesting, and you know, we were just talking about culture. I was talking about culture with one of your colleagues earlier, and saying, like, culture is your responsibility. Like, yes, leaders can come up and they can give a rah-rah speech, but none of that really matters unless you guys do the little things every single day, unless you come up and you buy into it. And that really takes us to our first ingredient. And by the way, I'm going to have a slide at the end that's going to have all of them up, so if you want to take a picture of it at the very end, you absolutely can. But this is my first ingredient in great teams. And I really want you to think about this as it relates to your team here. Do you have total buy-in to the system? A lot of the companies that I work with, I actually ask them to create meetings around this list that I'm getting ready to show you. And in week 1, we're going to have a meeting about, hey, is everybody bought in here? Like, and this is, to me, it's great timing because y'all just set your goals today. Is everybody bought into those goals? We should talk about that because I don't think everybody will be or will think about it the exact same way. And our job is to communicate so clearly that we do have everybody on the same page chasing the same goal. As I mentioned, I coach hockey, and anybody that knows a thing or two about hockey, you've got 5 skaters on the ice. And these skaters, they have a responsibility. And if 2 of them decide that they don't want to buy into the system, now we only got 3 against 5. And it becomes really, really difficult. And our lives are the same way in business. I had many, many morning shows that I would run where a couple of my producers or a couple of my co-hosts, they had different thoughts about how we were going to be successful. And it made it really, really challenging for us to have any kind of like mind-blowing success. Like I said earlier, we were good. but I'm interested in great. I want the greatness. There's something about me. Nick Saban, go back to him, also has this quote that I just love, which is mediocre people can't stand high performers, and high performers can't stand mediocre people. And I feel like that's me through and through. I have a really difficult time with mediocrity. And the reason that I have a tough time with mediocrity is because it's not a big shift from mediocre to great. It's a mindset, mostly. All of you probably have the skills that it takes. It's just a way that you're talking about it and thinking about it. Ask yourself, on my team, does everybody understand their role?